Hi friends, it's a beautiful day and I invite you to join me in the garden. I normally only share videos on Sundays, but there's so much happening in the garden right now. I wanted to just do a quick midweek vlog of what I'm working on right now. I want to start today with cutting some of this oregano. It is beautiful right now. Look how big this is. When I moved to zone 6B last summer, I did not know that oregano is a perennial here. I just assumed that most herbs were annuals here. And this has just gotten so big and beautiful. I want to see if I can cut and dry my year's supply of oregano. Okay, let me show you. I'll do the cutting, but you can do the holding. And you can help me put it in the basket.
The cutting.
You can cut with me, but these are pretty sharp, so you can't do it by yourself. Come here, look, I'll show you. Look, we're gonna go like this. I'm gonna hold a handful of it, and then we go snip.
Okay.
And I'm gonna put that in the basket.
I will do that. Thank you.
Okay, you ready?
Oh, you did put.
Snip. Let's see what we got. All right. We gotta go all the way down to the bottom.
Okay.
Last year I cut and dried oregano for the first time and it lasted me about 3 months. So now I know how much it takes to see me through the year till this is full and beautiful next year. I'm gonna cut a lot of this. Okay. Well, the plant has lost some of its beauty, but it is serving its purpose. That is a beautiful full basket of oregano. I'm going to set this on the porch so that I can take it in when I go in, and then we've got a few more things to get done.
Tricycle.
Will it take us a tricycle? Next, I'm going to spray some of my brassicas. Growing brassicas is definitely keeping me humble as a gardener. I just had a tough time. Last season I started transplants and they got eaten. This season I tried to start from seed and they are already getting eaten. I just put out my transplants. So I'm gonna use some BT. I don't know exactly what's after them, but I'm hoping this will take care of it. I'll show you what they look like. I've got 3 rows of cabbage. And then further back here, I've got 3 rows of broccoli. Some of the plants look very poor. For example, here is a cabbage plant that's definitely getting eaten. Many of them have markings like this. Hey, can you please let that go? In addition to some discoloration, so I'm trying to fertilize more. If I look up at the broccolis, at the broccoli plants, there's a few that are untouched, but again, many of them are a bit eaten up. So I'm gonna get some BT on these. I am just determined to get some broccoli and cabbage. I don't want to be defeated by this again this year, but it is a struggle. All right, the cabbage and the broccoli have been sprayed. If I save some of those, I will be happy. If I get any harvest from that, I'll be happy. Now over here, we have just a few tomatoes to plant. You can see this part of the garden is a little bit of a hodgepodge, and that's okay. I've got some flowers, I've got my fig tree, and I want to get my tomatillos planted and my cherry tomatoes. I planted all my indeterminate tomatoes, my slicing tomatoes and my paste tomatoes in a raised bed on a string trellis. I shared that video a couple days ago, but I didn't have enough room there for my cherry tomatoes and my tomatillos. So I'm just gonna put them up here with the flowers. I'm excited to be planting tomatillos this year because I really want salsa verde. So this year I started seed for 2 plants, and I'm happy with them, but I definitely need to get them in the ground. They are leggy and they've got blooms, even though they're in these tiny pots. I meant to get them in the ground sooner. So although tomatillos aren't technically tomatoes, they're in the same family, and they still have those hairy stems that can put out roots. So I'm gonna plant this deep, and I'm actually gonna pinch off these blooms to put all the plant's energy into establishing a deep root system. Hopefully they'll do well.
Oh, Rusty.
All right. So we're gonna put a handful of rock phosphate in the hole. You grab a handful and put it in there. Sprinkle, sprinkle. We need a little more than that. Grab another one. That's still pretty small. Can you grab a little more?
This big?
Yep, great. And mix it around. And we're also gonna mix in some crab and lobster. Again, full of phosphorus to develop the roots. Good, little handful, one more little handful.
Oh, this big.
That's good. All right, we'll mix that around.
You're gonna deeper.
It needed to go a little bit deeper.
Yeah. I go.
Sure. I'm gonna add a little more.
No, I can.
I know. Going down it.
And now what? I'm gonna cover it.
You got it. Can you get that last one?
Why is the blue? Why is the...
Tomatillos are in the ground.
Are we done yet?
Moving on to our cherry tomatoes.
Are we done yet?
Hold on, bud. Same drill. We're going to put rock phosphate and crab and lobster in the hole, plant them deep.
Oh.
Get a big handful. That's better. Oh, okay, Jamie, be a little more careful. Here. All right. And we planted my 2 favorite varieties of cherry tomato. That was Midnight Snack, Sun Sugar. And finally, I'm ready to get those oregano cuttings in the house to wash them and dry them. In we go. As I mentioned, this is our first spring at this property, so I'm still learning to take care of some of the perennials that I inherited with this garden. I love how big and full this oregano plant is, but I'm realizing I should have cut it back when I put my garden to bed for the winter last fall. There are lots of little twigs in here that were just dead branches from last year's growth. So I'm making a mental note to myself this year as I put compost on my beds and get them prepared for the winter and tear out all the old annuals and things like that. I should also cut this plant back hard, and that way it'll be ready for new growth, and I won't have to deal with sorting out all the twigs that are in this green oregano. These are the first herbs that I'm drying of this gardening season. So I haven't hung up my string yet. Last summer, John put 2 eye hooks under the cupboards for me. So right there I've got one, and right there I'll just tie up my string, and it'll probably stay up until the fall because I've got lots more things to dry. That is a lot of oregano. I'm optimistic that with this one vigorous plant, I might not have to buy oregano again. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garden today. I look forward to seeing you in a few days. Until then.